Many years ago, back when the Northwestern Railway was still being formed, several engines had been loaned from the other railway to help with the operations. One of them was a red tender engine named John. John was a hard worker, willing to pull any train given to him, and he was friendly to everyone he met, even Edward. But as the years went past, John seemed to become quieter. He did his work with barely a word, and sometimes appeared to be quite disheartened. It all came to a head one summer's evening. Edward backed into the shed after delivering his last train of the day. John was the only other engine there. "Goodness me," exclaimed Edward. "I am always happy to work, but this is quite a lot to handle." After Henry had been shut up in the tunnel, Edward and John had to do his work as well as their own. They didn't mind the extra work, but the summer heat was making them both more irritable as usual. "Quite so. It's hard to feel really useful when the passengers don't even respect you." "Oh, I'm sure they do," comforted Edward. "But all the same, it's quite tiresome that so many of our passengers have called me Gordon recently." John seemed to bite his tongue. "An engine's name is very important," continued Edward. "It's their identity, given to them when they're built. It's only right to get our names right. Wouldn't you agree, John?" John paused, and then finally found his voice. "Well, Edward, I just don't quite agree with that," began John. "What do you mean?" "Names are very important, but I don't think every engine is proud of their name. In fact, I'm sure that there are many engines who don't even like their own name, and would change it if they could." Edward was puzzled. "But why? I've never known an engine to be unsatisfied with their name." He paused. "Are you, John?" John hesitated. "Yes, Edward, I am. In fact, I've been unhappy with it for years now." "Years?" asked Edward, now feeling quite ashamed of his earlier complaints. "Is this why you've become so quiet? Why didn't you say anything?" "It sounds so ridiculous," sighed John. "An engine not being proud of their name? Whoever heard such a thing? I'm sure everyone would say I'm silly for thinking so." "Nonsense," comforted Edward. "You have the right to be called whatever you want, and if others don't agree, then they're just being fuddy-duddies. You are who you are, and no one can take your true identity away from you." John smiled warmly at their old friend. "Now, what would you like your new name to be?" asked Edward kindly. John paused and thought for a moment. Jane, she finally decided. "What a beautiful name," smiled Edward. "Jane it shall be." And for the first time in years, Jane smiled broadly. "Thank you, Edward." It took some time for everyone to be accustomed to the name change, but they were all more than accepting of it. Jane was happier than she could put into words. After so many years, she finally felt happy with who she was.